hip joint is proximal to the kneecap, but the kneecap is, which is away, the kneecap is distal to the hip joint. So one more time. Here's the ankle, here's the knee. So the ankle is distal to the knee, and the hip joint is proximal to the knee. But the knee is distal to the hip joint. I hope I didn't get you confused. Okay? But if you're confused, I can explain it to you again in class. It'll be better demonstrating. Okay? If the body is lying down, like you're sleeping facing up, it's called supine. If you're facing downward, it's called prone. Several other planes. Okay, if you cut your body right in half like this, this is the median or mid-sagittal. Okay, if you cut your body this way, like this, that would be the frontal or coronal. Okay, if you cut your body right through, that would be transverse. Okay, of course it could be here, here, here. Just across like this would be transverse. Okay, anything like downward is sagittal or mid-sagittal. Okay, mid-sagittal is just in the middle, and the sagittal is on the side. It could be anywhere. Okay. All right, now we're going to go into a little bit deeper. Okay, so here's the cranium, which is that's where your brain is. Okay, call this the cranial cavity. Here is your spine. Again, the red one is your central nervous system. That's where your nervous system sits. Here's the dorsal part, which is the posterior. Here's the anterior part, which is the ventral. Here's the thoracic cavity, where your lungs and your heart sits. Here's your abdominal cavity, all your intestines and all that. Pelvic cavity, which has your bladder and your organs, your reproductive organs. Now the abdominal cavity is subdivided into a different region. Okay, so we just mainly gonna look at this one. Again, this is the patient's side. Okay, don't get this confused. This will be the left upper quadrant and the left lower quadrant. Right upper quadrant, right lower quadrant. Easy. Okay. One of the things that that protects your organ is a fluid filled. It's got fluid inside. Okay. It's a serous membrane. Okay. So again, if you look at the heart, okay, it protects it against friction because the heart is inside the thoracic cavities between the lungs and is, beating like that. Okay. It's got to have some kind of friction-proof thing. So there are the serous membrane. So remember this, okay? Remember this. The serous membrane has a part that's touching the actual organ. Okay? That is so this one is the pericardium. Okay? Pericardium membrane. Okay? Because pericardium is the one next to the heart. Okay? Cardium is the heart. So visceral is the one that's touching the actual organ. The parietal portion of the membrane is touching the outside. Okay? And then there's pericardial cavity. Okay? Inside there's actually fluid. Okay? So the outer part, contact the walls, is the parietal part, and the inner part is the visceral part. Okay? So here's the parietal pericardium, which is the outside, the visceral pericardium, which is the inside. So this is the pericardium membrane. Okay, now here is the pleural membrane. Pleural membrane is the one that's into the lungs. Okay, so don't forget, there's a visceral pleura, visceral meaning touching the organ itself, and a parietal pleura is the one touching, is the one not touching the organ, is the outside one. Okay, there is the so there's the, this is side view. Okay, pericardium is there. There, the mesenteries is actually an organ on top of the intestines. So what is it? Mesentery, visceral. Okay, so medical images. Some of you are going to be X-ray tech or something you need to know what the difference of some of these are. Of course, X-ray. Everybody know what X-ray is. It's just to look at heart structure. Okay, not soft tissue. Okay, CT scans are X-rays. So CT scan stands for computer tomography. It's just a lot of X-rays together, and they, you know, put into slides. So you get a lot of radiation with that. Give me a second. CT scan. Okay. Oh. Okay, forgot to tell you one more. Okay, so there is pericardium. There is the pleura, the parietal pleura. Okay, visceral pleura. Pleura is the lung, and the parietal. Parietal is your abdominal cavity. The parietal pleura. Okay, so there is parietal peritoneum. There is visceral peritoneum. So don't get it confused. Where was I? So this is MRI. It uses magnets to change the position of your atom, and then you take an image. PET scan uses radio pharmaceutical. So you take a dye, and then they'll take a picture of it. And then usually with this, for example, if you put a sugar solution and then have the patient inject it. So for example, cancer cells, they uptake a lot of, they metabolize much faster. They use up all your energy and all that stuff. So it will go into those, it will go in to the cancer cells first. So that way you'll be, and then you take the image, and then you'll be able to see, hey, that area is more active. That is where the problem is. And ultrasound uses sound wave, like an echo, forgot what it's called. The echo from a bat, echolocation. Okay, they use the sound and it bounce back. So ultrasound, it sends a wave, sound wave in, and it bounces back and it reads that. So these are pretty much risk-free. Okay, so that is for chapter 1. Okay, several things to remember. All of the cavities. Okay, pericardium, the pleura, the peritoneum, and the mesenteries.